been in the hospital for several days.
Mr. Bates?
Here.
Mr. Greer?
Here. Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I'll give it to Mark, I think. Those in favor of approving tonight's agenda, let it be known by aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Motion carries and the agenda is approved. Dr. Mullins, school highlights, please.
Thank you, Mr. Greer. Mr. Chair, members of the board, our first recognition tonight is of a teacher that has faithfully served our students for 39 years. She has always had a servant heart and will certainly leave behind a legacy of always trying to make the world a little better place. She was instrumental in bringing what I believe is Wise County's first traffic circle to her school community. And she'll certainly be missed by those not only at Union High School, but by our entire school community. We certainly wish her the very best in her new adventures. And at this time, I would like to present Miss Connie Carrico with this plaque and thank her for almost 4 decades of dedicated service. Mr. Chair and members of the board, with our summer program just drawing to a close a few days ago, I wanted us to take a glance at where we've been this past year and a half, and just the incredible work and dedication of everyone in our school communities, not only our administrators, our teachers, our staff, our parents and guardians, our community members. What was accomplished during a very difficult time, I think just speaks volumes about what kind of communities we have. We've talked about in our meetings the delivery of both virtual and in-person instruction. We've talked about as I say, the Herculean efforts of our faculty, staff, administrators, parents, students. We've discussed the preparation and delivery of thousands of meals and pickups, and we, the deep cleaning, the quarantine, the testing, the screening, and how no matter how difficult it became, our school communities rose to the challenge. Our graduation rates were among some of the very best we've had in recent years. Our students earned state championships in track, tennis, basketball, cross country, wrestling, one-act play, forensics, and cheer. 2 of our schools won the prestigious Wells Fargo Cup, awarded to only 1 school in each classification statewide by the VHSL. We saw every member of our community supporting each other and providing social and emotional support to each other, and this, along with the courageous leadership of this board, allowed us to forge ahead and continue to be one of the best divisions in the Commonwealth in which to receive an education. It truly has been a remarkable school year, and I just want to take this opportunity to thank each one who made it work under some very, very trying circumstances. And so just wanted to share that tonight. And we've talked about many of these things over the past few months about, and we've had various groups up that we've recognized. But as I say, just as we officially close out our summer school program and officially wind the year up, I did want to just share once again our thanks to everyone in our school communities that made it work. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Well said, thank you. Is there a motion to approve tonight's consent items?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Those in favor of approving tonight's consent items as presented to us, let it be known by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carries. Are there any additions, deletions, or changes to be made to the minutes? And this refers to the minutes from June the 8th, our last meeting. Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Go ahead.
Okay, Martha. Those in favor of approving the minutes, let it be known by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carries, and the minutes are approved. Let's see, educational reports, Dr. Mullins.
Mr. Chair and members of the board, we are pleased to have with us tonight the president of WCEA, Mr. Paul Clark, who will share comments from the organization. Mr. Clark.
Good evening. I have no WCEA members who've contacted me about any pertinent matters they want brought before you at this time. I know those who have done summer school are trying to get some rest in before we go back, and the rest of us are resting in hopes that each day, CDC changes things and we get back to normal. And I want to thank Dr. Mullins and the staff here for continuing to send out emails to us on the updates and things that are happening so we can get back to that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
That's all the educational reports we have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Now, we're going to be entering the portion of the agenda to deal with public comments. Those wishing to speak to the board will have an opportunity to do so. Please keep your comments to a limit of 5 minutes, and I'll let you know when your 5 minutes is up. And please address the chair, and please refrain from any profanity. And you will have to state your name and your address when you approach the microphone. And we'll provide response to the next meeting. So at this time, the floor is open to public comments. Anyone wishing to speak, please come to the podium.
Hello, Mr. Chairman. My name is Charlotte Reeves Thacker, and I live in Wise, Virginia. Mr. Chairman, I'm a former student of Wise County Public Schools, and I am a transgender woman. There are a few folks here tonight that are going to speak out against transgender students being allowed to use the restrooms. People like me getting to use the public restrooms that match their identified gender is extremely important in affirming the gender of these kids. There are a variety of reasons that it is opposed, and I would like to touch on some of those. There are some people who say religiously it goes against God's will and it is unnatural. When people think about gender in relation to the Bible, they typically think of Genesis 1:27, which says, "So God created humankind in his image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them." However, when we look a little closer at Genesis, we see that after God creates men and women, he also creates day and night, birds and fish. All of these are a spectrum, just as gender is. Day and night has dawn and dusk between them. Birds and fish have penguins and dolphins. No one's arguing that a penguin is unnatural and goes against God's will. So why argue the same about trans people? God loves all, including transgender people. Next is the argument that letting trans kids use the bathroom makes it easier for predators to sexually assault children. Some parents may hear this and be concerned for their child, understandably. What parent wouldn't be concerned when thinking about the possibility that their child may be harmed by a sexual predator? However, this is a tactic used by transphobic people to strike fear in the hearts of concerned parents. This is also a false claim. According to a peer-reviewed study by Hazenbush, Flores, and Herman, there's simply no correlation between the passage of transgender bathroom laws and the number of criminal incidents in bathrooms. As a student in Wise County Public Schools, I was forced to use the nurse's bathroom. This was especially distressing when the nurse was out of the office and it was locked, forcing me to either wait for them to get back or to use a bathroom that didn't match my gender. Forcing trans kids to use a different bathroom stigmatizes them and leads to emotional distress. 75.1% of transgender students feel unsafe at school because of their gender expression, and 41% of transgender and non-conforming people have attempted suicide. These are kids in our own community that are attempting suicide because of how unsupported they are in their gender identity. These are kids. We should be giving them all of our love and support and allowing them to grow to be wonderful people and who they are. But some members of our community want to see these kids suffer. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I urge you to follow what the Virginia Court of Appeals has already ruled. Banning transgender students from using the bathroom that matches their identified gender is unconstitutional. Let our kids be safe, supported, and just let them be them. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, my name is Erika Witt. I'm from Pound, Virginia. I am not against what people want to be, what they want to be identified as. Let each one choose what they may want to be identified by. But I see that why cannot they not have a restroom for them instead of putting my children, my grandkids, in a position that we do not agree with. If I told my two grandsons, okay, children, when you go outside to the bathroom or to the playground, if you are about to use the bathroom, just try to find you a corner outside and use the bathroom, kids, as long as you don't let other children see you do that. What's right about that? What would be the circumstances of my children doing something like that in front of everybody on the playground? Absolutely not. What if everybody in Wise County says, okay, my children's not going to go to school? What's going to happen? I believe Wise County jails better get a lot larger. I'm not saying that I am against the transgenders. Like I said, so be it. That's perfectly fine. I'm not against them at all. But do not take my children that is being taught right at school, I mean at home, and mix them with something that we feel that is not right. They feel that their feelings are being hurt. Okay, what about my children? What about me? What are our children going to school for? What? To learn. What do these children learn? What they are taught. Exactly what they are taught. I'd just soon pull my grandkids out of school, let them be taught at home right from wrong, instead of sending them to school and showing them that this is just a new normal of life. It's not a new normal of life. Sorry.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hi, my name's Marquita Hall, and I'm from Big Stone Gap, Virginia. And I do agree with the lady that just spoke. I don't have anything against transgender. God does love them, but it is against God. I do not want my children or my grandchildren taught hate, but I do not want them also sharing the same bathroom, because it is an open door, I feel, for pedophiles. Not saying the schools is full of them, But I think I got an eye-opening to some of the schools while we homeschooled this year. Everybody done an excellent job, but there's things already infiltrating our schools. And I would rather keep my grandkids home than have to force them. They're learning what's right at home. This critical race theory, I've already been talking to them about that. I'm not going to teach them to hate. God created us all equal, man, female, male and female. Black, white, there's no difference in them. But I'm asking you all just to consider the other children too. I think it's a good idea to have a different bathroom if that's possible in your all's budget. I don't want my grandchildren at a camp out or anything that they're open to this. I want them to learn the godly principles that I've instilled in them since he was 17 days old. And I expect, as I send them to school, that they're taught what's right and wrong. So forgive me if I expect a little bit more from our school and our school boards, but we entrust our children to you on a daily basis. So I'm asking you all to consider when you all go to weigh this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. My name is Tyler Hughes. I live at 7 East 5th Street in Big Stone Gap. First and foremost, I want to thank the chairman and the board, Dr. Mullins, and all the administration of Wise County Public Schools. As a town councilman, I know public service is not for the faint of heart, even in the best of times. So thank you all so much for all that you do for our communities. It has always been my policy to refrain from commenting on issues that face the Wise County School Board. I believe that privilege should be reserved for the teachers, the faculty, the staff, the students, and their families who will be most directly impacted by the board's decisions. However, I'm going to set aside that ideology tonight, for not that long ago, I was a student of the Wise County Public School System. At that time in my life, I had no idea whether my parents would have my back, whether my friends would always be by my side, and it would have thrilled me to know that someone like me, who may have even had only the slightest idea of what my life was like, would stand up and speak out when I needed it. I look around the room tonight, and I know that we are characterized by our differences. I, though, want to focus on our commonalities. I would be hard-pressed to find a single person in this room who wouldn't stand up and say that we all want for our children in Wise County, regardless of their background, their economic status, their race, their religion, their sexual orientation, or even their gender identity, to reach their full potential. After college, I was faced with the same decision that every young person in the mountains is faced with. Should I move back to Big Stone Gap, or should I take off for an urban area full of promise and job opportunities? It was the values and the culture of Southwest Virginia that brought me back home. After all, you can't walk down the road to Mama's house for a fresh jar of apple butter in Manhattan. Jokes aside, I knew coming back home was the right decision for me because I was faced with a community of love, support, and open arms, which helped me center my career as a musician here in Wise County. Over the last decade, I've taught hundreds of children from all walks of life through our county's traditional music programs. I'm certain I've taught many of your children here tonight. Just like all of you all and all of these board members, I know that they're intelligent, and I know that they're capable of creating the future we all want to see here in Wise County. Over the last few years, I've sat through countless meetings with local, state, and federal leaders as we all bemoan the same problem. Why won't a young person stay here? We even give them jobs now. I'm here to say it will take more than a good-paying job to keep young people in Southwest Virginia. It will take listening to our better angels and answering their call to adhere to those Southwest Virginia values of love, acceptance, and openness to all people. I know this board will do what is right, for I trust in all the leaders of the county. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public expression?
My name is Mike Strong, 232 Coburn Northeast Street. I've been a baseball coach for going on 25 years, and I've got fortunate enough to coach Mr. Raymond's son. And during that time when you're coaching young kids from age second grade up to JV sports, during the time that I had them, I felt it was my responsibility to keep them safe. And I would have not felt very comfortable if I was doing something to them that Mr. Raymond would come in and ask me why I felt the need to put them in an unsafe environment. So my job as a coach was more than just to coach ball. It was to see for the betterment of that child. So I'm here tonight to talk about the mask. We're going on now, we had one full school year of mask, and I'm only talking about the primary children. My granddaughter started kindergarten, and we had 3 months of the year before. So where I'm going with this mask issue, I'm not exactly sure why we're going to mandate young children that do not spread the virus, very seldom get it. We're going to put a mask on every child and keep them 6 foot apart again. Now, last Wednesday, the CDC come out that morning and give their guidelines. And I'm not here to jump on the CDC, but they are very wishy-washy from one day to the next. What I am concerned is within an hour, I got a text that the Wise County School Board had thought about masks for next year. So if we're only going to follow the CDC guidelines only, and at the end of that radio advertisement for the CDC, it also said that each state and school had provisions that they could make up what they needed to. So I'm here today to ask you to really consider about the primary school children with masks. My granddaughter went through a year of it, and she thinks that's what school's supposed to be now. And if we're ever going to get back to normal, we can't keep putting this on these children. Now, at my work, I've been fortunate enough, we have 22 people, and we have a cleaning process we go through every morning, every evening. We clean with alcohol daily. Thank the good Lord above, we had 2 people that had symptoms of COVID in the last year and 3 months. And both of those people's family member worked at both prisons. So I'm not saying that's the answer, but I know putting every kid in jeopardy when the numbers are so small, to me, doesn't make the best sense. Now, I was telling a friend of mine, I've been here twice, and the last time I was at this place was the consolidation many years ago. And we all kind of felt that once consolidation happened, that the community would get back together and things would be okay. Now, as a board member, you know, CDC is appointed by politicians. You were voted on by we the people. So where I went with Mark Raymond's child, that I had care of him for those 2 hours of the evening, we're trusting in you to make decisions for our kids. And these were the healthy ones about fresh air. I'm sure most people here would tell you that their summer this year has been wonderful. Kids been out together with each other. I went to Clearwater, Florida. I've been to the Soaky Mountain Park, and there was no mask at neither one of the places. The kids were playing together. It was amazing to watch them. So I really hope that we give some thought to behind the mask for primary school. I can't speak for anybody else. I know that when you mandate something for someone, that, you know, somebody's going to be responsible. And we know that breathing problems happen with young children.
You have 1 minute, Mike.
Okay, no, I'm done. And I thank you for your service. What you do, when somebody said a minute ago, I thought the other board had it rough many years ago, but there's no doubt your decisions on these issues will be lasting. So may God be with you.
Thank you.
John Wells from Big Stone. I have 2 grandchildren that go to Union Primary. One is going into the 1st grade, one is going into the 3rd grade. And like a couple other people spoke here, I have no problem with the transgenders, but I do have a problem with them using the same bathroom. I feel that y'all need to set aside a special bathroom for them. That's their choice, if that's the way they choose to be. My grandchildren go to church. I try to teach them right. You know, and the Bible says one man, one woman. And at that young of an age, I feel it's taken away their innocence to try to explain something else to them. And I feel y'all could get together and make some things work, setting aside a separate bathroom. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to address the board?
Hello, Mr. Chairman. I am Dylan Reeves Thacker from Wise, Virginia. I was a former student of Wise County Public Schools, and I have people very close to me who are part of the transgender community. There were some comments from very concerned parents, understandably concerned about, their kids sharing spaces with transgender children. And forgive me if this speech is a little impromptu, but I wanted to respond to those concerns. Now, we say that, you all support you all are not against the transgender children, yet you speak as if you don't understand them. And from what you're saying, I doubt you all do, because give me a minute. So, every transgender kid I know is really incredibly sweet. I just love every one of them is such a decent and honest person. No one has any intention of spreading evil or being, for no better words, creepy. No one's children are in danger when they use the restroom. The restroom is one of the few places where everyone can be safe. They are private spaces with stalls. No one is being corrupted. This is not an evil thing. If these concerned parents say that, God loves transgender children, and then you turn around and say that he is against them, what exactly do you mean by all of that? If whatever you say, God created these transgender children, if we are speaking in a religious sense. So, forgive me, this speech is a bit impromptu, but I wanted to give my end of it. I just felt like I needed to speak. I haven't spoken in a while. But for these transgender kids, we need to, yes, every kid should be treated equally, but that is not the reality of the society. There are a lot of inequalities in society, and we need to acknowledge that. We need to make sure every kid does feel safe and in comfort where they can learn, because that's what they're at school to be the best selves they can. And they can only be that if they feel safe and supported. So when we make these decisions, we have to listen to these communities, each and every one of these communities, to know what makes them feel safe. So that is all I have to say. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, hello. My name is Joshua Uti, and I am a new resident here. I live on Holton Avenue in Big Stone Gap, Virginia. I'm standing here today because I want to lift my voice for those who can't be here today. I have siblings that attend Wise County schools. I just want to say that I'm originally from Birmingham, Alabama. That place might sound familiar to people because it was the birthplace of the Civil Rights Movement. And I just want to remind us of where we are now, how far we've come. And we want to make sure that we don't go back there. My grandmother told me stories of not being allowed to use the same bathrooms with people because of what she looked like. And you can't just look at a human being and think that that person ought to fit to where you think they ought to go. And I just want to say that that's not right. We all love God is what I'm hearing tonight. And God created us all different and equal. And we must respect that. And it's not correct, it's not right to hold somebody into the box that you think that they ought to go into. If a person tells you who they are and how they identify, that's who they are. Respect that. And that's all I have to say. You all are doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Shannon Taylor, Big Stone Gap, Virginia. I don't get it. I'm not transgender. I was lucky enough to be born a woman. I've always felt like a woman, so I guess that's nice. However, I do have children in the school system, and I imagine had they been born in a body with a brain that they felt belonged to the wrong body, I would hope that they would have the same accommodations that they do get as ADHD children that have unique brains and that are given 504 plans and IEPs. We're just talking about a bathroom. I mean, they have stalls, do they not? What, are we really worried about rape in our school system? And then I have a much more serious question to pose. Why is this an issue? I don't understand why we're so concerned about pedophilia among children in stalls in a bathroom. But if there is a chance that we will alienate children or make them feel less welcome in our community and our schools, well, I don't want my children to be a part of that. So as many people are willing to pull their children out, I like homeschooling as well, and I will teach my children about love and acceptance, and that we don't have to judge what genitals go into the bathroom to allow someone to relieve themselves. That's absurd. So I just hope that you can consider that with a heavy heart. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is the first school board meeting I've ever spoken at, and I'm really nervous, so bear with me. I want to first express my gratitude to the Wise County School Board for allowing me the opportunity to address you all this evening. My name is Megan Gilly Rutherford. I am a resident of Big Stone Gap for most of my life and a graduate of Powell Valley High School, which is now Union High School. I am the parent of a transgender child who is enrolled at Wise County Schools. Parenthood has been the most incredible experience of my life. As a Christian, I give thanks to God for my children and the fine education that 2 of them have received so far through Wise County Schools. I am grateful for the leadership and staff who, for the most part, treat every child as their own. We are fortunate to be provided a world-class educational opportunity in our rural area. To briefly state my background, I hold a master's degree in psychology and have nearly completed a second master's degree in social work. My son's father completed his master's degree in computer science at Penn State, while I attended religious universities and studied the Bible alongside my textbooks. Clearly, education is important in our family, and we understand that the setting in which education is obtained is just as important as the content taught. It's disheartening to hear individuals address the school board tonight and provide no evidence-based information. Thus far, the only statements in opposition of this law I have observed contain fear-mongering, weak religious doctrine, and misinformation, All of those things are out of place here in a public school system. I'm a product, again, of and a testimony to the educational system here in Wise County. Powell Valley High School prepared me for undergraduate and graduate study. Powell Valley High School taught me to consider sources, recognize that an opinion is not fact. Powell Valley High School helped me learn to think critically. I'm disappointed that others obviously did not have the same educational experience and don't understand that feelings are not facts. And just because you read something somewhere or because you're afraid of something doesn't make it real. When my child came out to me in 7th grade, my fears were based in the possible existence of individuals in our community who would, without reason, show prejudice toward or discriminate against him. My worst fears did not come true at Wise County Schools. The abundance of love and acceptance from staff and peers he has received is heartwarming. However, my fears have come to light again during this meeting after realizing that some people in our community don't have the best interest of every child in mind. They're only concerned for certain children. As a parent and a professional who's been in behavioral health for nearly a decade, and I want to just kind of off the cuff share with you all my passion as a professional in behavioral health is focused on children, protecting children, making sure children grow up to be their best selves. So it's very personal to me. As a parent and a professional, keeping all children safe is my priority. It's disturbing to me to hear adults speak who are obsessed with the private areas and body parts of children. It is really concerning to know that in a room full of people, there are a lot of people thinking about my child's genitals right now. It makes me uncomfortable. According to the Crimes Against Children Research Center and the National Institute of Justice, research over the last 20 plus years has shown that 3 of 4 adolescents were sexually assaulted, not by a transgender person in a bathroom, but by a family member, a family friend, or someone they knew very well. Children are overwhelmingly more likely to experience sexual assault at the hands of someone in your family, one of your friends, or even someone you attend church with, instead of a transgender stranger in a bathroom in a separate stall.
You have 1 minute, Ms. Rutherford.
Thank you, sir. Across the board, research has shown that transgender people are at more risk of assault using a public bathroom than a cisgender individual. To me, I have spoken about this issue with my 3 sons. They understand how to keep themselves safe, how to respect the privacies of others, and to use bathroom stalls. This appears to me that some parents don't want to parent and have these hard conversations with their children. So instead, they're asking the school to make a rule so they don't have to discuss this with their kids. When you strip away all the unrelated religious beliefs that don't apply to a school, and you get past the nonsense that transgender people are predators, all that's left is a group of parents who are failing to raise their own children and teach them about the world, not just here in wonderful Wise County, but all over the place. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, y'all. I'm Rebecca Mead. I'm from Big Stone Gap. And transgender, I don't really care. I mean, transgender people or transgender religion aside, I don't really care. I want to know, how are you all going to keep these kids safe? If this happens, if this doesn't happen. People talk about putting in a separate bathroom. This puts us back as going to black and white. Blacks use one bathroom, whites use one. We cannot do that. That sets us back that makes us look so 1920s South. We just can't do it. And it just puts us real racist looking again, you know? And when the kids do that, I just want them safe. I have a 9-year-old who identifies as Kung Fu Panda cheating everybody in the house. And if you don't know it, you're going to have to watch the movie. But anyway, if a transgender goes into the boys' bathroom, are they going to be safe if another boy is just ticked off that they're in there? Or if a girl is upset because another transgender girl goes in the bathroom? I'm not worried about sexual predators. I don't think about the school is just swarming with sexual predators. That is not my thing. Kids are downright mean when they're in school because my 9-year-old has seen it. I want to know how they're going to be safe and protected because a lot of times Wise County schools do their job, but a lot of times you all suck at it. You all slip through the cracks of protecting some kids. And I want to know, how are they going to be safe? I don't care about any of the other stuff. Because parents can talk to their kids at home. If they think they don't want them going to the bathroom with somebody, then don't go to the bathroom when they're in there. If you have such a big deal with it, wait till they're out. They are stalls. Make everything stalls. Take the, what's them things men pee? Urinals. I mean, I have had to go to the bathroom so bad sometimes, I myself has went into the men's bathroom. I mean, because there was just no place at the ladies, so I went into the men's. And yeah, I've come out with a man at the urinal. I get a weird look, but I go on. I just want all the kids safe, because some kids have been badly hurt. And that one little girl that went to Union, you know, she got beat up pretty bad. And that was just over Snapchat stuff. And all this is a bigger issue here. My baby gets hurt. I mean, I don't know what he is. He's a little boy, but, you know, he's just out there. But I'm coming in, and I'm coming in big and hard, is all I'm saying. Probably like with a lot of parents. I just want the kids safe. I love all kids. I don't care gay, straight, lesbian, transgender. I don't care. I don't care the color either. Nobody. I don't just care. I just want them safe. That's my biggest thing. Okay. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Joella Ely, and I live in Lee County, Virginia. I have a grandson that attends here and many friends with little ones that attend this school. And personally, I believe this bill should not be implemented for the safety of the LGBTQ and the straight children, or whatever you want to call them. I know God created male and he created female, you're right, and he does love everybody. Made them in his own likeness and his own similitude and breathed his breath into them. But I'm telling you right now, this is wrong. It is wrong on every level. And you're opening Pandora's box that you ain't going to be able to shut. It's going to lead to more and more and more. And me, myself, I've raised my children and I've raised my grandchildren since birth to respect the opposite sex. And you don't do certain things in front of the opposite sex. And that's just respect. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Bailey Adams, and I live on Hoodow Hollow Road in Norton, Virginia. Like Dylan here, I apologize if this speech is impromptu. I just felt compelled to speak. I'm a recent graduate from Eastside High School, and my first 2 years of high school, we had what was called a diversity club. It was basically like a gay-straight alliance club. But it also included, you know, different religions and, you know, stuff like that. And I knew that if there were any transgender students in that club, that they would have felt safe with the people that were in there with me and the teacher who sponsored it. And they would have been supported if they wanted to go to the bathroom that they chose. And for my second point, I just wanted to say that going to the bathroom is something that we all take for granted every day. It's just, you know, something small as walking into a room and taking care of your business. But for transgender people, it is a big deal because they don't know if they're going to be hate crimed in that restroom. They don't know if they're going to be stopped from using the restroom. They just don't know. And, you know, that's sad. And for some of the people here tonight that have said they could be sexually assaulted, their grandchildren, children, if you just get on the internet and search the statistics up of the connection with transgender bathroom bills and sexual assault crimes, you will see that in research they don't connect. And you can get on any reputable news source and check that. And for my last little bit, I just wanted to say, you think your children, your grandchildren will lose their innocence seeing a transgender person in the bathroom with them? What will take their innocence is teaching them hate instead of love. So just love one another. Let people use the bathroom they want. It's really not that big of a deal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Tony Mullins from Coburn, Virginia. We're all concerned, not all of us, but you hear a lot about physical safety on both sides. But it's every one of y'all's job, every teacher's job, every principal's job, every parent's job. It's not just physical safety. It's mental safety of our kids. Mental health's a big issue. And the first speaker made a statement that when the bathroom that they was allowed to use wasn't available, they had to use the restroom with the gender that they did not recognize with. And it was mentally disturbing, right? Well, how about the other group of kids that's in that bathroom that's got a kid in there that ain't their gender, and they know it ain't their gender? Does their mental status, I mean, I'm not saying don't work. You know, you got a job to do, and we know everybody. And all this, you know, hate and stuff, all that's out the window. It's the fact we got kids to raise. Y'all got, you know, responsibilities to our kids to raise. And it's as much mental health as it is physical health. And the speaker even said it was mentally disturbing to go in a bathroom that you didn't identify with the gender. Well, as grown people, man or women, if you was in a bathroom and the other sex come in and use the bathroom right beside of you and you're married, you can't tell me it wouldn't bother you. That's right. It's a mental issue as much as, don't forget that. We ain't just talking about physical safety. School is all about mental, and mental health's a big issue in this world. That's all I got to say.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rebecca Holmes. I live in Scott County, Virginia, but I work in Norton, Virginia as an outpatient therapist, and I work with a lot of children who are youth who attend Wise County schools. And I'm so glad that people are here bringing up mental health tonight, because I'd really like to talk to y'all about a mental health crisis, which is the prevalence of mental health disorders in our trans youth. These are largely influenced not by a predisposition to mental health issues, but by what we call the minority stress model, where prejudice, discrimination, and things like that makes life more difficult for people who have been marginalized, like our transgender students. We see heightened suicide rates in transgender youth all across the country, particularly spikes in these suicide rates when these bathroom bills that ban children from using their bathrooms are introduced. I really commend the state of Virginia for passing a law that protects the mental health of trans youth, and I'm so proud that the Wise County School Board is going to follow with the wise decision of our state. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Gabby Gillespie. I live at 1757 Pennington Gap Highway in Big Stone Gap, Virginia. I have been a community organizer here for over 7 years. I grew up near Roanoke, Virginia. As we know, this law has already been implemented, so we're not actually here to argue whether or not law is law. And these types of laws have actually been passed in plenty of other communities that are not here. I have nieces that live in Washington, and they go to schools where these laws have been implemented, and they get to look at their transgender other students in their schools, and they get to see them feeling a little bit safer. A lot of the people who are speaking today are parents or grandparents or family of kids who go to the schools. We're not actually hearing from the children. And as we know, intergenerationally, a lot of times we have a lot of different feelings about especially things we consider political issues. So a lot of the feelings you're seeing reflected here are not from the students who are actually going to experience going to the bathroom at school. So, I'd really like to see a forum where we can hear from young people, because we know that when we've seen segregation, which I'm hearing as a proposal for our bathroom situation in our schools, when we've had people here who have experienced segregation in other ways in the past, and we have changed our ways, because as we continue to grow, as we continue to learn through the generations, we learn new things about what it's like to love and accept other people. So I would propose that we have a forum where the students are able to speak, and I think we'll hear really different experiences, because this really truly affects them. And I think a lot of us are maybe stuck in some old ways that these kids are coming into themselves. I am genderqueer as well. I didn't really I called myself a tomboy as a kid. That's what I thought I was. I liked to climb trees. I didn't really like to wear dresses. I liked to be dirty, and I got in the garden, and so I just kind of called myself a tomboy. And as I've grown and learned to accept myself and been loved by people in this community for over a decade, I have learned that it's okay to be who I am and say who I am in a real way. And I want that opportunity for young people, because I have wanted to commit suicide many, many times in my life because of who I am and not being accepted. And I have people in Big Stone Gap who accept me and love me, and that's why I feel like I can buy my first home here. I came from generational poverty and haven't had that kind of opportunity. And I'll be honest, I thought about moving to Lexington, Kentucky, or Knoxville, or somewhere where I'd be more accepted. But I have people all over this county who love me and want me to stay here, whether I'm genderqueer or not. And I want that same opportunity for the young people in our school systems. So let's not segregate. Let's just open our minds a little bit. You don't understand what it's like when you have to go to the bathroom and you feel triggered every time you have to make a decision, one or the other. It is nice to have an opportunity to have a gender-neutral bathroom, but it's also a beautiful opportunity. Someone I don't really identify with either one, so I like having a gender-neutral bathroom, and every time I have to walk into a women's bathroom, I've literally peed my pants because I didn't want to make that decision, and it brought so much anxiety. So y'all don't know what it's like to have that experience unless you're genderqueer or trans. So just wanted to bring my perspective. This is not about marriage. These kids aren't married. Like, this isn't about perversion. I think the assumption being made here is that trans people like me are perverts, and that's not true. And none of the trans people here are that. And so y'all need to dig a little deeper into what you're assuming about us just because of who we are. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Miranda Ely. I'm from Lee County. I have a nephew that attends Wise County School. I'm here today about this bill that's been passed down to you, that you'll decide whether you go by their model, a more comprehensive model, or a different model. Yes, God did create us in his image, male and female, created he them. Even science tells us that male and female is different. Our problem is not with transgenders. We love everyone. No matter what they choose to be, that's your decision. That's up to you. But what we teach our kids at home is being compromised with this bill, because not only are you wanting our kids to be exposed to what we have been told them is wrong, you're wanting to put it in the curriculum and bring that in the curriculum as well. We are supposed to be teaching English, arithmetic, and math. That has nothing to do with math, English, and arithmetic. What we need to do, yes, we can provide them with their own bathroom. The bill that you'd be passing, you pass the bill that has been passed, yes, they can have their own bathroom, but they can then choose to go to the other bathroom just because they say they're transgender or whichever they choose, and that's not right. Most kids have been taught that when you're a male, you do not be in a restroom with a female. If you're a female, you do not go in a restroom with a male. I, for one, have heard a male that goes to a different school say that he will go in the bathroom with the females just because of this bill, just because he can. That's our point. We're not trying to make a point that transgenders are pedophiles. How do we know that people ain't pretending to be transgender just so they can go in the restroom with the girl, or just so a girl can go to the restroom with the boy? We elect you to put rules in place to help our children, and I hope that you do the right thing and do what's best for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Thank you, Wise County Public School Board, for letting me speak tonight. My name is Christopher Rutherford, Bum Hollow Road, Big Stone Gap, Virginia. I want to speak on a few things that I've heard tonight. People talk that, oh, by the way, I do have 2 sons in the Wise County school system. People talk about exposure. I grew up with 3 brothers, 4 sisters. No one cared. Elementary school children don't care. High school children, they're going to care. They're going to do what they want to do anyway. Wise County is a great place, but there is a lot here that could be improved on. You want to prepare these kids to leave this area? What happens when you take them over to the Target and they have to go into the men's room? There's a very good possibility they'll see someone that's not like them. Then you take them to Walmart. Sorry. No matter where you go, you are going to run into someone that is not like you. Being ignorant and scared of transgender people will not help that. No one is going to pretend to be transgender and take that abuse and take those feelings. No one is going to put themselves through that to see someone in a bathroom. If they want to see that, there's plenty of opportunity online. Every kid I know has a cell phone. There's Snapchat. They're already seeing it. If they want to see it more, the bathroom at school is not going to be the place where it is. Teach your children at home what you want them to know. That's fine. But when they're at school, they need to learn how to interact with all kinds of people, not just the small amount of people you keep them around. Your weird Uncle Jerry that shows up at the picnics that you won't let your children be around is way more likely to do damage to your child than anyone from the transgender community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Adam Millay. I am a resident of Big Stone Gap, 213 Chestnut Lane. I was not a graduate of Wise County school systems, but my property tax do fund them. I was injured in 1997 when I was in middle school, and I have felt and experienced the compassion and the mobilization that communities and school systems can do for people when they're in distress or when they're in need. And I understand how somebody who is struggling with their gender identity or struggling with what's going to happen to them at school or in their community or when they walk around a corner by themselves, I can understand how that, or I can empathize is a better way of putting it. I can empathize with how that can be extremely stressing, especially for somebody in their youth. When I was in school and as a teenager, I had to learn and basically give up my dignity in a lot of ways just for the sake of going to the bathroom because I needed help doing it. I have had male and female, gay, lesbian attendance my whole life. For 22 years I've been injured, and I have experienced waiting for a bathroom to come empty when there was no gender neutral bathroom available, in order so that my female attendant could come in with me to help me go to the bathroom. I have experienced it in the opposite direction, having to go into the women's bathroom because of it. My question is, why are gendered bathrooms necessary at all? We have the mechanisms and capability to retrofit every one of our multi-stall bathrooms and every one of our bathrooms in general to be gender neutral. You can put up stalls that go from floor to ceiling with lockable doors that don't have gaps in them. You can have a neutral or a common area for the sinks. Is there any reason that the sinks need to be gendered? You know, the way it's also incredibly inefficient. You know, you have a bathroom full of girls at a party or when there's a dance, and every stall and every sink is taken, and there's not enough room for any more girls, so there's a line. So, and you go into the boys' bathroom, and there's like 3 people in there and 8 empty toilets. You know, is there any reason that those toilets shouldn't be taken up by somebody else that's in need of going to the bathroom? I mean, it makes very little to no sense. And I would hope that Wise County will do what is right by these kids and help them affirm their identities, help them to feel safe at school, and help them to overcome the prejudices that they experience in their own communities, and even from their own families and parents sometimes. It's unfathomable that this school system will refuse to comply with the law that has been set forth by the state. If the model policy is a bridge too far or is not enough to get past the voter sentiments based on, you know, their lack of understanding of what it means, then follow in Lee County's footsteps and pass a consistent policy that complies with the law, as long as it protects these kids and helps people like me not to have to find a bathroom whenever needed, whenever there's not a gender neutral bathroom. And it's, I mean, I hope that you all do the right thing by these kids. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. It's good to see you. It's been a little while since I've been here, but my name is Jeffrey Hunsaker. I live at 4425 Hunsaker Drive in Coburn, Virginia. I'm an alumni of Wise County Public Schools, graduated Eastside a couple of years ago. I've been mulling over some of what's been said this evening. And I go to college about 6 hours east of here, a little south of Richmond. And it's a significantly different place while still being considered rural Virginia. I came back and I was at work when I heard about this meeting, and it was sort of shocking that this was still a problem here. It seems that everywhere else in the country has kind of already figured it out while we're still waiting around, trying to make up our minds and catch up with the time. Which, to be fair, has been a pretty common thing for Wise County in Southwest Virginia. But I ask you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, why do we need to continue being the group that's behind the time? Why can't we catch up? And I want to address some of the general arguments that have been presented. I'm a philosophy major at my college, and I don't think quoting Aristotle is going to do me much good, so I'll word it like this. Everybody here is significantly within the class of not apathetic. Everybody here cares about this issue. They have some stake in it, whether it be theirs, their children's, whatever. And there exists a dichotomy. People exist in one of two classes, one of two categories. We have people on one side and people on the other. You either are in support of bullying our school children, or you're in support of freedom. I ask you, Mr. Chairman, which are you in support in? Thank you.
Good evening, gentlemen and women. My name is Jay Ernest from Big Stone Gap, Virginia. I am here tonight to not try to preach to you, even though God has called me to be a minister, thankfully. I'm glad it's not a Wednesday or a Sunday, because I'd have to be at church to do my duties as God has called. But luckily, God has made it so I could be here tonight to speak to you all. And I'd like to take a moment to speak on behalf of those who are churchgoers. I'm not going to speak religion to you, but I'm going to speak the Bible to you, okay? I'm going to speak what God has put in the Word about what He's against, what He's for. And as the Word does say, He created man and woman in His image, like one did say. Yes, He did. And God did not speak it to be man, man, woman to woman. I have a child that goes to Union High School in Big Stone Gap, primary, as a matter of fact, upcoming middle school. And I have another one that is upcoming to be a year old. And from speaking for myself, I cannot speak for my wife, which is a female, that our year-old child, when she does upcome to be able to go to school, we will refuse to send her to a school that will be for bathrooms where a man or woman like that could be in the restroom with her. Furthermore, our daughter that's in school now, upcoming to middle school, if this here bill does come to pass, I will go ahead and be honest with you now, we will pull her from the Wise County public school system. Not only us, but I can probably speak for other fellow parents that is in this room tonight of children that they will probably pull out of the school system too because of this. And you cannot have a school if you don't have kids. And you have to have kids to have a school. Thank you.
Thank you.
Howdy, my name's Ryan Atkins. I live out in the Birchfield section, Wise. Just want to say I do not support any transgender people going to the bathroom with my daughters. I have 4 daughters in public school. And, you know, if they're having an identity crisis, they need to use their own bathroom. And like the gentleman said back there, you know, I want my children to, you know, adapt and be around all kinds of people, gay people, trans people, whatever, but I don't want them to do it in the bathroom. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Kayla Ernest. I'm from Big Stone Gap. I do have a daughter that attends Union Primary. This is her last year at Union Primary. I am a Christian, and we do teach the Christian values. And my Bible teaches us not to hate, so we do not hate. We love everyone. It's the sin part that is hated. Man and woman, you're given that at birth. That is written on your birth certificate. So that is not something that we are telling these children, you can't choose that. That's already chosen. That's right. So You know, yes, my daughter's going to be in 4th grade, but in her upcoming years, if this passes, what's going to happen when she goes into the locker rooms? If she has to shower with someone who claims that they are a female, just to go in there and see her naked. What is she going to do when she comes home and says, Mom, they don't have the same private areas that I do. I do not teach my daughter to hate. I teach her to love every kind. I have gay people in my family. I have people that are transgender in my family. I love every child. God created every child, and He loves everybody. But it comes to a point where we have to ask ourselves, which door are we going to open? Are we going to open the one that's going to affect the majority? No, I don't think the minority should be left out either. If they need a separate restroom, give them a separate restroom. They can claim that they're transgender or whatever. Let them go to the same restroom together so they can be comfortable too. But my child shouldn't have to be uncomfortable just so that a man can be comfortable. Thank you.
Thank you.
I know there's been a whole bunch of people, and I'm sorry to take up some time. I'm Dalton Emershaw. I'm from Norton, so I'm going to keep it quick. Everybody's already said too much stuff, and I'm not technically from the county. So I just wanted to make sure that to remind y'all, and I know y'all don't need reminding for this, but y'all and everybody else here, that this is a public school system, right? Run by the government, and religion has no place here. Thank you.
Good evening. My name's Barbara Harvey. I live in Coburn, Virginia. I have nothing against the transgender people, gays, lesbians. That's your lifestyle. Live it the way you want to. Everybody talks about the emotional and the mental stability of these children. I have grown children. I have grandchildren. I also have adopted children. So you cannot talk to me about the emotional well-being of children. I've lived through it. We got 2 little girls when they were 3. They will be seniors at Eastside this year. Bullying through their lifetime has been immense. So you can't tell me that there won't be bullying. And I apologize if you were bullied. My children have been through it. I've lived it. If you want a separate bathroom for these children, that's their lifestyle. You have separate bathrooms right now. You have male bathrooms, you have girl bathrooms. If they want a bathroom, let them have it. You cannot tell me that this is not going to open, as someone said, a Pandora's box. When you open this can of worms, you're going to live with it. I'm just telling you now. I know you're a school board, and I know this is a law. We didn't get to vote on it as Virginians. Our governor put this in, not us. If we had been allowed to vote on this law, it wouldn't have passed. Maybe from up in Northern Virginia, where there's more gays and lesbians and more transgender people, I know there's a lot in our area, and they can live in peace, just not my peace. That's right. Okay? I'm just saying that when you open this can of worms, you're going to have to live with it. Okay? And you say that bullying doesn't happen, it does happen. My girls are in high school now, but a few years back when they were in middle school, a very dear friend of theirs was nearly beaten to death in a bathroom. His leg was broken in 3 places. He became a junior last year. He finally got to go back and play football because he was still healing. And it was all because bullying. This young man had some issues of ADHD and stuff. Children made fun of him. You get made fun of, our children got made fun of. Mine had a blackout at school. She had to be taken away in an ambulance because she quit breathing because people were bullying her. She's not transgender, but she still got bullied. This is what we're worried about. And you say pedophiles and things like that don't happen at this age? Yes, they do. And it all comes down to bullying. Whether you're transgender, lesbian, or gay, that's not the way God made you. And I'm not bringing religion into this. My issue is the bullying that our children are going to have to go through because of these bathrooms. If you want to do this and you want to go through it, have a contingency plan. Have a backup plan. Have a bathroom for them. And that's their decision to be transgender. Lesbians and gays still use the other bathrooms. They didn't ask for a special bathroom. But if the transgender children want a special bathroom, give them one. But don't make a boy go into the bathroom with my girls, or a girl go in with my grandsons, or God forbid, my 5-year-old granddaughter, who would probably, as one lady said, Panda, she would probably karate chop them. She's tougher than any of the kids we've got. But I'm just saying, if you're going to do it right. Okay? Do it right. Don't make our children go, well, I had to go to the bathroom, and there was a girl in there. Mimi, what was I supposed to do? Just walk out. When she comes out, go in. Or if one of my girls goes to a restroom and a boy goes in, my girls won't stay. They know better. But what I'm saying is that's opening up a Pandora's box, a can of worms, to letting pedophiles in, or somebody who wants to just be a smart aleck, or had a bad morning with their parents.
You have 1 minute, Ms. Harvey.
Okay. They come in and have a bad morning with their parents, or God forbid they're having a bad day. I think I'm going to use this bathroom because they say I can, and go in and be mean to somebody. Not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying you're getting ready to open that can of worms. Please think of our children, all children, everybody's child, not just mine, everybody's child. Think about it before you pass this. According to the law, we've read parts of it, you don't have to do that. You can have a transgender bathroom. You don't have to let a boy go into a girl's bathroom because they think they want to be that day. I appreciate your time, and I hope you will do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board of the Public Schools. My name is Jonathan Crimmins. I'm a resident of Wise, Virginia. I live over on Ridgefield Ave in Wise. One thing I just wanted to, some I think confusion or misunderstanding has maybe entered the conversation. And of course, I wanted to point out for people who may not be aware that the bill allows students to use the bathroom that matches their consistent gender identity. So therefore, it is not a matter of willy-nilly choice or choosing at any given moment. The student will, a transgender student will be making a choice that is consistent with their gender identity. So it's not a question of choosing on one day or another. There are also a few other things that I wanted to mention that I think are sort of heartbreaking statistics. For instance, students who have their chosen name and pronouns used for them in one context, if they can have those chosen, they have a 29% reduction in suicidal thoughts. So, and students who have their chosen name and pronouns used for them in four contexts, at home, work, school, and with their friends, have a 71% reduction in symptoms of depression, 34% reduction in suicidal thoughts, and a 65% reduction in suicide attempts. And so I would just like the board to, I just wanted to say to the board that I'm in support of the passage of the law, and one of the members of the community here has a sign that says trans rights are human rights, and I think that's an important point to, or human rights, and I think that's an important point to think about, in part because it does, having students who are protected from discrimination in one area does help all students feel safer. If students are taught not to discriminate against people because of their gender identity, it will help them in other areas. If you have a student who has ADHD, if you have a student who is Black or is Hispanic, those students will all be, if they are taught that discrimination is not right and that that all students deserve to be treated with respect, then those then that will help all students across the board. And so that we want to say, oh, and I also want to say thank you to Charlotte for leading us off this evening with a really eloquent and beautiful prepared remarks. And I'm sorry that mine were not more tailored to the moment. But so thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, thank you. My name is Kate Kramer, and my address is 129 Ridgefield Ave, Southwest. I'm the parent, the mother of a young daughter who will eventually enter the Wise County public school system. And I wanted to state how important it is to me that she have the opportunity to attend a school in which every person in that school is valued and their rights are protected. And so to me, it is of paramount importance that trans students be able to use the bathroom that is in accordance with their chosen gender, because it is a way of protecting all of our safety and all of our rights. I think that point that trans rights are human rights, that to make a school safe for trans students is to make it safer for all of us. And so it is troubling to me to consider the possibility that my child would one day attend a place in which she herself might not be able to express herself in the ways in the ways that she chooses, and in the ways that are in accordance with her own experience of her gender and of her body. The bathrooms are an extension of the world. And I hope and I believe that we behave in our bathrooms as we behave in the world. So to teach our children to value and respect one another in their daily interactions as they're doing their math and their writing is also to teach them to use the bathroom beside one another in a manner that is respectful and loving and generous. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
My name is Jason Young, and I am currently a resident of the Wise County Public Schools. It really hurts me to hear of what has been going on, what I've been hearing, and what I've been hearing behind people's backs about what's been going on in the bathrooms and religion and all this. I want everybody to know that that the world is changing, and we need to be able to see how this world can be able to change for itself and for the better of people. People need to be able to see what is about to happen of this world. So what if you're able to see what somebody looks like in the bathrooms? It's what I want you all to hear is that if it changes, you all will be able to see how much better this world can be. We have so much hate in the past of what has been going on in our history. We need to be able to open our eyes and see what is in front of us. And we must please change what is for the better. That is all I have to say. Thank you.
Hi everyone, thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Kara Doughton. I am a resident of Wise County, Virginia, and I am also an alumni or an alumnus of J.J. Kelly and Central High School. I did not prepare anything to say today, but I was just shared a statistic. Shared with me was a statistic by a new friend that I wanted to share with you all in response to some of the comments that were being made about the safety of transgender students when they are not allowed to use the bathroom that aligns with their correct gender. Trans students are more likely to be sexually assaulted if the school does not allow them to use the bathroom of the gender that they identify as. And I want to share the statistic that I just learned because I think it's rather shocking. 26% of trans students are sexually assaulted in the school system when they are allowed to choose the bathroom that they identify with, which is a shocking number, and I think does speak to a larger problem in our society and in our school systems, that we don't value one another as whole people. But when they are not allowed to choose, that number goes to 35%. That's a third of the transgender students that we know and love and should value and should respect and want to keep safe and protected, like all of our other students who are experiencing sexual assault in one of the places that is supposed to make them feel safe, make them feel heard, and make sure that nothing happens to them, no harm comes to them. So I thought it was important just to share that statistic so that you all know there is research and studies that are supporting this bill that was passed down from Northam. And I just want to say that I am in support of this bill just as I am in support of our transgender students and all of the rights that they are entitled to. And I want to thank you.
Hi, my name is Madeline Parks. I am a resident of Wise County. First and foremost, I want to say that bringing religion into the matter should not have happened in the first place. We live in a constitutional republic, not a theocracy. Second, I want to say that any solution other than allowing trans students to use the bathroom of their preference runs into contradictions. If you segregate trans students, you're essentially putting them onto a scaffold for public ostracization. You're opening the floodgates for bullying, harassment, assault, even lawsuits. If you force trans students into the bathroom that does not correspond with their identity, you are putting them at harm. Say, for example, a transgender girl forced into the bathroom with boys, she's going to be at much higher risk for violence to come upon her. And I think that I had heard that someone had mentioned something along the lines of parents having a right to know what their children identify as or go by as at school. But unfortunately, the sad reality of the world is not every child has a parent who can know that information and that child go home and be safe. That's pretty much all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Billy Chandler, live in Big Stone Gap, Back Valley Road. I've heard a lot of different people speak here on both sides on my way here and since I got here. I understand that, people saying, religion ain't involved in this, it shouldn't be involved in it and everything. But you see the way this nation is right now for trying to say religion has nothing to do with it. Turning your back on God, doing all this and saying it has no place here. Well, this nation was founded on this. That's right. Preach it. You all know this, and you all know that you're not comfortable with the opposite sex in your bathroom. When you go to the bathroom, you're not comfortable with that. I've got 2 daughters in Wise County schools. And am I comfortable with a male going in there? No, I'm not. I'm not comfortable with that. Doesn't matter what anybody says, oh, you need to adapt these times, that time. No. There's male, there's female. What you choose, if you go through with this, transgender bathroom, make them one. That's fine. They say don't infringe on our rights. Well, what about the rights of the male and female that says I'm male, female, I'm straight? What about their rights? You making these decisions, it's your job to do this, to keep them safe. And you say, and I understand people said, we've had mental problems, we've had this, I understand that completely. But you open this door and let them go in these other bathrooms, because there will be some kids that'll take advantage of it. Kids are gonna be kids. We was when we all grew up. We done stuff, we was mischievous. But you're opening up something, to my understanding, that the teachers cannot question that they go in that bathroom. The teachers have no control on this, so they can come and go as they please and do whatever, because if a teacher cannot question this, then how is it supposed to be kept up with? That one boy says, hey, I dare you to go do this, or I double dog dare you, as they used to say. Now, I believe if everybody wants their rights, we all have rights, make a transgender bathroom and say, here's your bathroom. That's fine. But you all know this. There's a lot of people that haven't come and talk on it because you know where people stand on this. I've heard a lot of good and bad from both sides, but you turn your back and say, God don't belong here, religion has no room here. We used to do Pledge of Allegiance, we used to do the prayer in school. Where are we at now?
You have 1 minute, Mr. Chandler.
I don't need anything else. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, board, staff, I was at home listening to this. I hear a whole lot of religion being brought into it.
Would you state your name and address, sir?
My name is Stephen King. I'm from Wise, Virginia.
Thank you.
My daughter just graduated from Central last year, and she is a member of the LGBTQ community. My sister was a member, and she's also a product of Wise County Schools, as I am. I've been a social justice warrior since I was a kid. What was the final commandment Jesus gave us? To love one another as he loved us. He lived among society's worst, but yet he loved them unconditionally. Each and every one. Now, I have a question for the board and everybody here. We're all Americans, right? We all believe in the Constitution, right? First Amendment says, Congress shall make no laws inhibiting the practice of religion. Has no place in government, none whatsoever. We rail against Muslims because of Sharia law. But yet that's exactly what we're trying to institute in this country. Not Sharia law, but our ways of thinking and interpreting what Christ said. Now here's the thing, we love each and every one of them. When I go to the bathroom, and I'm going to use some terms to take a dump or pee, I could care less what's in somebody else's pants. If you're looking at that and that's what you're worried about, you need to look at yourself. I never go to the bathroom and sit down to use it, and the first thought that comes into my mind, I'm going to commit sexual assault. The vast majority of these LGBTQ people are good people. The transgendered people, if you'll look at the statistics, you will find that if a boy identifies as a girl or a girl identifies as a boy, if they do not go through the transgender stuff, they generally are what we call homosexuals. A boy transitioning to a girl likes boys. He could care less about your girl in the bathroom. You go to the bathroom to take care of business, simple and pure. That's it. And if you're worried about committing sexual assault while you're in the bathroom, then you got some issues that need to be addressed. If you're looking at someone else's private parts while you're supposed to be in there using the bathroom, you got a problem. When I was in high school, the second floor girls' bathroom at J.J. Kelly was a hub. Boys gathered in there. Teachers would run us out. The girls that come in there, they didn't care. They knew we weren't in there to bother them. They would take care of their business and they would leave. End of story. And we would just meander on out. A lot of people have taken this issue and let fear play into it. I was raised in a bigoted home. My father was a George Wallace acolyte. For those of you who don't know who George Wallace was, he was probably one of the most racist, bigoted people in American politics. My mother said no. love will be taught in this home. Love, acceptance for everybody, no matter the color of their skin, how they worship, or how they identify gender-wise. Biological sex and your gender are two totally different things. Educate yourself, people. Educate yourself. Because 9 times out of 10, those students or those people who identify as opposite of their biological sex generally dress the way they identify as their gender. If a boy identifies as a girl, he's going to dress as a girl. Now, you may not like that, but I have found in my life and my study that religion is inherently evil. It's man-made. The Bible doesn't talk about it. It doesn't talk about religion. It doesn't talk about hate. It seems too many of us are trying to do God's job. It's His job, because none of you are going to have any say on whether I get into heaven or whether I don't. That's my job. That's right. That's my job. And I'll take what I'm doing now right up there to the judgment table. I'll go there. Because I know in my heart that I'm doing what Christ would do. I am being accepting of those who are different. You may not like it, but they are human beings and they are God's children too. And Jesus was God manifest in the human flesh to be the living example. And we are rejecting that example just like they did in His time when they sent Him to the cross.
You have
And
1 minute, Mr.
it was the church that sent Him to the cross. The church. I'm sorry, but I'm going to preach the hard truth to you. You're going to go home mad at me, and that's okay. But you're going to do your research. You're going to look. And you're going to find out that what I said was true. Not just because it comes from me, but because it is the facts. But I sat at home listening to this, and I heard a lot of unbased bigotry and fear-mongering here. I don't even know why you're having a meeting on this. The law is a law, and the rule of law is what makes our country great. If you don't like it, change your representatives. That's just how you do it. But there has already been precedent set in this. And I would much rather you take the time to be proactive, as I said during the shooting thing a couple years ago. Be proactive. Go to your schools and make all bathrooms gender neutral. End of story. No problem. It's much cheaper to do that than it is to fight frivolous lawsuits that have already been decided by the Supreme Court. They refused to hear the Gavin Grimm case.
Your 5 minutes are up, sir. Thank you for your comments.
Sorry, I'm not a speaker, but I'm Ruth Ham from Coburn, Virginia. And I have grandkids that's in there. My kids are all grown. They're all graduated, married, got kids of their own. But they don't understand this part. They don't understand what's going on in school. Why are they doing this? They don't. Okay, the man just said, nobody's trying to be a pedophile or because you don't have to look at it. My brother told me, he said, listen, when he was young in school, what did they want to do? They wanted to look up girls' dresses. I would say, okay, I'm this person. I'm going to go in there and look up the dress because that was their hormones going out crazy. And they wanted to get up there and say, okay, I'm going to say I'm this, just get in. My brother said, he just said this the other day. He said, Ruth, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to say, I'm this person so I can go in there and look. That's what scares me. So that man said just then, he said, you look at a person, that ain't what it is. It's kids. This is kids in school, not adults. They don't understand. So I'm sorry. I have to say that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, and they can have an outhouse, by the way.
Anyone else wish to address the board?
I'm Steve Gilly, and I'm from Big Stone, graduate of Powell Valley High School. And I'd like to apologize to every one of you in education that it's been passed to you to teach children which bathroom to go to. When I was a kid, I learned which bathroom to go to before I went to school. And it's unthinkable for me to think that you got seniors in high school, and one of the main problems that they have is they still don't know which bathroom to go to. Come on. Parents need to teach them that before they ever even start school.
Thank you, sir.
My name's Jeff Harvey. I'm from Coburn, Virginia. I graduated from Coburn in 1977. I'm just an old disabled coal miner. And, you know, everybody that gets up here talks about all these bathrooms having stalls. You know, everybody's bathroom's got a stall. If they got stalls, what's the problem with the transgender going into their own bathroom? I mean, you know, everybody says they got stalls. If they got stalls, what's the problem? And y'all need to think about this before you vote on this. How many of you how many of you men would want a no man going in the bathroom with your wife? That's right. How many of you women want an old man going in the bathroom with you? I don't want a man going in the bathroom with my wife. You know, and they say the legislation's already been passed, you know, which it has, but y'all got a say in it also. You know, I know we're worried about our funding. You know, our funding comes from Richmond. You know, they ain't going to cut your funding because you don't agree with Governor Northam. You know, about 40 years ago, we let one woman, Madeline O'Hara, take prayer out of our schools. You know, when I graduated from high school in 1977, this wasn't an issue. You know, this wasn't an issue. But we let one woman take prayer out of our schools. You know, when I went to school, I carried my shotgun in the back of my car. After school, I'd go squirrel hunting. And I'm sure a lot of y'all did. But you know, you can't do it today because, you know, things have changed, and we've let them change. We've changed them. And you think about, you know, before you vote on this, how many of you men will want some old drunk going in the bathroom with your wife? You know, in the Coburn, at East Side, you know, they got both floors, top and bottom, got boys' bathroom on one end, girls on the other. I don't know which one's on which end. I can't remember. It's been a long time. But if a boy's on the end of the girls' bathroom and he gets about ready to go, even if you ain't transgender, you know, what's going to keep you from going? What's going to keep him going in that girl's bathroom? You know, or vice versa. You know, these transgenders really don't worry me. I love them. You know, God says we gotta love them. You know, they don't bother me going in to a girl's bathroom. But, you know, don't tell me that it don't happen. People, you know, they do get beat up in school. You know, they bullying goes on in school whether we won't accept it or not. It happens. But, you know, everybody gets up here and talks about these bathrooms having stalls. If they got stalls, what's wrong with the transgender going in their right bathroom? I mean, I don't really see the issue. That's all I got.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. I'm Donna Hill. I'm from the Pine Camp section of Coburn. I have 2 teenage sons that attend Eastside High School. They were born as males. They've never questioned what their sexuality was. They were taught that from birth. I do not have anything against people that identify as transgender, but I do have a problem with transgenders using a bathroom where there's specifically boys in one bathroom, girls in the other. Make them a separate bathroom. I am a Christian. I have raised my boys in a Christian home. They do not, they know better. They just don't address it. When I ask them, they're okay. Nanny, it's okay. We know what bathroom to go in. Yes, they do. But it's the ones that's confused or that needs a separate bathroom. Then build them a separate bathroom. I'm not saying they can't attend the same school. That's not an issue. They just need their own bathroom. I have a 13-year-old son that will be going into the 8th grade. He's special needs. If this is implemented in the middle schools, how is he going to filter that? How is he going to say, Nanny, I was in the bathroom and there was girls that came in with me? What if he says something to one of those girls sexually? How are they going to, is he going to be punished? Absolutely not. That's his bathroom. That transgender needs a bathroom of their own to go to. He doesn't understand anything about this anyway. Like I said, he's special needs. He's not the only child. There's other ones, and I'm sure they're in the high school that maybe, they don't understand either. It's not up to them to understand. My children are straight, and if you people are whatever, that's fine. Build them a bathroom of their own. My sons should not, my grandsons, they're my children now, they should not have to use a bathroom where there's girls at. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I did not plan on speaking tonight, so sorry if this is a little rough. But before I get into this, I just wanted to cover the legal part of this whole situation.
Your name, please?
Colby Farmer. I'm from Coburn. I put out my address like everyone else is, but I don't think I want everyone to know my address. But basically, with the legal aspect of this, a Virginia Federal Circuit Court ruled making transgender people use bathrooms unconstitutional. And they tried to appeal that to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court refused to hear it. So as of right now, it is unconstitutional to make transgendered people use separate restrooms. I just recently graduated from Eastside High School, and as opposed to letting other adults speak for me, I figure it'd be better for me to represent myself and other previous students or current students. I don't really care who uses the bathroom. I don't care if transgender people use the bathroom or in my restroom or not. If you're going in to use the restroom and there's anything on your mind other than going to use the restroom, you got an issue. Most kids, if you ask most kids, hey, do you care if this person is using the restroom? Most kids are going to say, I don't care, because they don't. And if we're going to have a conversation about mental health, we shouldn't be focusing on what people are using the bathroom. We should be focusing on the bullying in these schools that are causing needs for a diversity club in the first place or a gay straight alliance club to provide people support. We should be addressing these bullying issues. Because throughout my tenure in high school, I witnessed a lot of bullying against the LGBT community, and I have many friends in it. It's not okay, it's not cool, and it's one of the issues that need to be addressed, in my opinion, way before anything about a restroom, which at this point, nothing can be done right now because transgender bathrooms cannot be made per Virginia law. And to touch on people calling transgendered people predators and saying they are going to commit sexual assault in the restroom, or actually just saying that people who are not transgender are going into the restrooms pretending to be transgender to commit sexual assault. If people are pretending to be transgender to commit predatory acts in our restrooms, that isn't the fault of any transgender student attending Wise County Public Schools. It's the fault of the parents who raise such insufferable people. And my last thing is, if people are really so concerned about having a separate bathroom, maybe we should start a GoFundMe and start a separate bathroom for the people who are comfortable with using the restroom with transgender people. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to come on ahead, sir?
My name's Wes Arney. I'm from Coburn, Virginia. I was watching this at home. We have choices in life. We all have choices. And you're subject to the consequences of the choices that you make. And you all have a choice before you. And you're subject to those consequences. Choices that I make, they not only affect me, but they affect my family. Okay? And when you affect other people by your choices, you're held personally responsible for that. And, if I leave out of here and I go to a store and I get a 6-pack of beer and I want to go drive with everybody else, I've made a choice to do that. But I've also put at jeopardy other people around me, okay? And I've got 3 daughters that are coming up in this school system. I've got one in high school, one in middle school, one in primary school. And if you've made a choice to alter what your God-given sex was, that's your choice. And you should suffer the consequences for it, whatever they may be. Now, if I run into you, I'll try to love each person as they come along. But now we are subject to the choices that we make. And when we make a choice that affects not only ourselves, but others, and we start passing bills that affect others, like my daughters, if this bill passes, can be subject to being in a situation that me as a father, I don't want them in. Okay? And so I made a choice to come up here. But the best choice, and this goes for everybody in the room, the best choice I've ever made is to make Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior of my life. And I'll stand on that choice, and I'll stand on that faith, and I'll stand on the Word of God because it's true. Because it's true. And I thank you for your time, and I hope you'll make the right choice.
Thank you, sir.
I'm Kay Short from Pound, Virginia. I taught school in Wise County Schools for 37 years. This is a shocking meeting to me. I stood in the bathroom and watched girls come in the bathroom and smoke. We were put in there to take care of the bathroom, to make sure they didn't put toilet paper in there to flush the toilets and they run over in the hallways. We watch those kinds of things. Maybe we ought to have the bathrooms in the stalls and have teachers in there watching people. But what my main point this evening, I wish we were as interested in what's going on in our classrooms as we are in what's going on in the bathrooms and who's using the bathrooms.
Thank you.
Name's Braden Hens, senior at Eastside, play football. What I'm gonna say right now, I identify as a male. Okay, I have a little sister. She's in 2nd grade, Coburn Primary. I don't want to risk my little sister going in the bathroom and being raped. I mean, not in primary school or middle school, but I'm going to tell you right now, once she gets to high school, and if this bill's passed and she gets raped, there's going to be consequences for somebody. Okay? Listen, nobody in their right mind is going to stand for this. All right? I might be 17 years old in here talking my mind, and nobody in here might not be listening to me. I'm going to tell you one thing right now. There's going to be a lot of trouble with this if somebody don't take care of it. Y'all make the right decision. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Helen Mays. I live in Wise. I was watching this while I was trying to cook my kids dinner after working all day. I have 5 kids in the Coburn school, and I'm very upset that on both sides you're not saying the right things. It shouldn't be transgender bathroom. It should be a bathroom that's a single stall for anybody who wants to use it if you're going to implement this law. My child they're not transgender, but they should be able to use that bathroom if they don't feel comfortable going into a bathroom where there's going to be somebody else that's not their sex in there. Just like there should be a bathroom for somebody to use if they don't know which bathroom to go in. We're supposed to love both sides. Bullying is a big issue. My daughter committed suicide. And I found out later she was being bullied. So bullying does happen. And it happens to everybody. Not just transgender, not just LGBT, whatever. I'm sorry, I'm so upset I can't even say it right now. But this has got to stop. You need to protect everybody, their mental health. You need to protect their physical well-being. It's not just about if somebody who says they're transgender is gonna hurt one of my kids. What if, by God, one of my kids hurts them? Even though they've been taught right by me. You all say that when you're at home, you teach your kids the right way. Do you know what they do? Do you know that your child bullied my child? Because I didn't. I asked her all the time. Oh no, everything was fine. Nobody saw the signs. She was a straight A student. Nobody saw this coming. Bullying happens on both sides. You need to protect their mental well-being as well as their physical well-being. I have gone into those stalls. My other daughter doesn't even like to be in those stalls because they come to here. I can see the top of my head and you can see pretty much my private part.
That's right.
What are we going to do about that? That should have been addressed a long time ago. My same daughter, who was in band, felt so uncomfortable changing in front of somebody when she went for her road trip that she went into a bathroom and she got made fun of because she didn't want to undress in front of the other girls. What's going to happen when she does that and she doesn't want to undress in front of somebody who's transgender? Or what if that transgender person doesn't want to undress in front of them because their private parts aren't the same? They're going to get bullied then? This is what you guys need to be asking. Make a stall for whoever wants to use it. Make several stalls. Make it a separate bathroom for whoever. There's no religion in this, even though I believe in God and I believe my certain way. The point is we want to keep our kids from getting raped. We want both sides. We want to keep our kids from going in there just to have sex. And my husband and I, or any boyfriend I had been with in high school, and they say, hey, you can go into any bathroom you want to go in. You don't have to tell anybody. What you identify as, they cannot ask, what do you think we'd be doing in that bathroom? I guarantee you I would have been 16 and pregnant. I got pregnant my first time I had sex when I was 18. I waited till I was 18, not by choice. I just didn't have the opportunity. Being real with you. So please, protect both sides. I love all kids. I don't agree with everything. But you know what? I don't agree with the guys that my daughter dates. So you know what? It's not about that. It's about the fact that everybody needs protection. And I pray that you guys do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to approach the board?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name's Michael Mead. I live in 946 Strawberry Patch Road, Big Stone Gap, Virginia. I got 3 grandchildren going to Union School. I'm also a licensed ordained minister. I have bishop and senior pastor of Faith Hope United Church. I've listened, as you all have, on both sides. And I've heard about God is love. Yes, He is, but He's also a God of wrath. And sin separates us from God. The issue here is that God is not the author of confusion. And that's what I hear here tonight, a lot of confusion on both sides. And as I sat back there hearing the little comments about both sides, one day we will all stand before Almighty God and give an account. The books will be open. My God does not make mistakes. Now, we need to set the example of what God says is right and what He says is wrong. Sin separates us from God, but it also separates us good from evil. And that's the bottom line here. What is good, what is of God, and what is evil, and what's not of God. It's sin. And one day, we're going to stand before God, and you will too, I will, and so will both sides, and give an account of the decision that's made here. I'll leave you with that.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Seeing no one, public comments is now closed. Before we begin discussion, Dr. Mullins, I think we've been here for 2 hours. Let's take maybe a 10-minute break to go to the bathroom. Let's come back in here at 8:10.
Yeah, well, if you're up, moving around a lot, it makes a difference. Probably got something to do with it, because I've never sweated like this.
Okay, Dr. Mullins, our technology grant resolution.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, Dr. Kaiser will share information with you regarding our technology grant resolution. Of course, we'll be asking that you approve this resolution later under action, but Dr. Kaiser, go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Mullins. Mr. Chair, members of the school board, this is something we have to do every year. I know every year I stand in front of you and say, you know, that this is short and sweet, because if we want money to spend for technology, here's the money we use. This is the grant resolution for the VPSA monies that we do spend and then request reimbursement for from the state. The money does have to be spent in specific categories, but we know those categories well, and we'll do our due diligence to spend it in those categories and get that reimbursement back. But again, this is something we have to come to you every year at this time and ask you to approve this so that we can spend that money and be reimbursed for it.
Are there any questions from me and the board members? Seems pretty cut and dry.
Pretty cut and dry. It's been that way for 20 years now, but we've still got to go through the steps every year to make sure we can still have that money. So.
It's hard to improve on perfection. Yeah, a lot of practice there.
Well, I wish they would, you know, if they improved it, I wish they would give us, you know, more funding for technology, since it's such a big part of what we do these days. But, you know, we still look for other avenues, but we still want to make sure that we keep this $365,000.
By all means. No questions from the board. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Scott. 10.3, our school reopening for the fall 2021 year.
Mr. Chair and members of the board, just wanted to share with you what we know at this time, or what we think we know regarding our approach to reopening schools next year. Of course, it is our intention to reopen our schools 5 days a week and run our normal school day. And it's certainly our desire to do so with the least amount of restrictions in place related to mask wearing, social distancing, screenings each day. Currently, we have just a small number of students who have elected to return to learning virtually because of health-related concerns they have. Less than 75 of our students in the entire division. Of course, these students will be utilizing our Region 7 Virtual Academy. And we, as we've talked before, we feel like the Academy will certainly deliver a high-quality instructional program and lighten the burden on our classroom teachers. Along with our regular instructional program, we will focus on addressing learning loss from last year and then continuing to meet the social and emotional needs of our students and staff. I just wanted to highlight recent CDC guidance, and I want to share with you, as someone pointed out, I think in public comment a while ago, what we saw during this time of COVID in the Commonwealth is the CDC has issued guidance. The Virginia Department of Health then looks at that guidance, makes revisions or slight changes, or adopts in totality the CDC guidance, forwards that to regional health directors, and then localities make decisions on what of those guidance document, or which part of the guidance documents, all, some, or none, to follow. Now, of course, the CDC has put some things in place as a type of order, where the VDH nor localities really had any say. But what we're optimistic of is that as Virginia Department of Health begins to make their way through this latest guidance, is that they will take a look at all areas of Virginia and make some recommendations, and then give local authorities the ability to adjust and adapt as we feel like we need to. But in the guidance document that they shared on July the 9th, of course, their number one, they start off their document by saying students benefit from in-person learning, and safely returning to in-person instruction this year is a priority of the CDC. Of course, they point out that vaccination is currently the leading public health prevention strategy to end this pandemic. They have put in their document, and again, this is just the CDC. It's not VDH, it's not local health, but their document states that masks should be worn indoors by individuals age 2 and older who are not fully vaccinated. And masks should be consistent and correct mask wearage usage is by people who are not fully vaccinated is key. Outdoors, in general, people do not need to wear a mask when outdoors, but in areas of high transmission rates, they are recommending that individuals who have not been vaccinated wear a mask outdoors. School transportation being one of those areas which they actually issued an order, I think, back in January of last year. And this applies to all public transportation, including school buses, is that regardless of the mask policy we have in our schools, passengers and drivers on buses must wear masks. And so they did come out with a little bit of information regarding, of course, they're still recommending the 3-foot distance between students within classrooms. When it's not possible to maintain the physical distance of 3 feet, such as, you know, a student body, the population that returns to school is such that it's just not possible to have school and maintain 3-foot distancing. It is important, they share, to layer multiple other mitigation strategies, such as indoor masking. So what I want to leave you with, we actually had a meeting today with Dr. Lane, and some of this was part of our discussion. And one of the things he shared was that the VDH would make their way through this document, and at some time, probably in the next 7 to 10 days, we would get some guidance from them. And then, of course, when that guidance comes out, Joyce certainly is constant interaction with our local health authorities. And, you know, the one thing right now is that we, of course, when Dr. Cantrell retired, Dr. Shelton took on this area under her umbrella and now was, you know, given charge of a huge region. And now Dr. Shelton has, I think, maybe August 1, she's moving on, and so we'll have another director at some point after the August 1st date. But again, it is our desire, and I think the desire of this board, to have in place the least amount of restrictions we possibly can. But certainly if we have, you know, an executive order or some kind of order from the CDC, VDH, that we were asked to comply with, certainly we'll need to do that. But when we're given the opportunity as a board, as a school division, to look at where we are in terms of rates of transmission and other factors, and we're given the opportunity to use or not use some of these restrictive, I think we've made it pretty clear from the outset that we would, based on transmission rates and other factors, we would have in place the least amount of restrictions that we could. But I did want to share with you that, just as I say, an overview. CDC just came out with this, and so, you know, we're waiting to see what some of these other agencies do with their recommendations. But we will certainly make available to you and our school communities any reopening information that comes out in the upcoming days, and we will share that as soon as we receive it. But if you have any questions that I may be able to answer, I'll certainly be willing to do that. But I think that's where we are sort of currently.
Any questions from the board? Very well. Let's go to 10.4, Wise County Public Schools solar program.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, for actually a number of years now, we've discussed adding solar energy to offset our energy cost and impact our instructional program. And for various reasons up to this point, we've not been able to find that right fit for our school division for a number of reasons. But Mr. Lawson and I have met on multiple occasions with representatives from Secure Futures who've designed a program that we feel has a lot of promise, again, not only from an energy offset standpoint, from an educational standpoint as well. And one of those representatives, Mr. Matt McFadden, will be sharing an overview of that program with you. Matt, I believe, is a J.J. Kelly graduate, lives here in Wise County, and at this time, I'm going to turn it over to him. So, welcome, Matt.
Thank you, Dr. Mullins. As Dr. Mullins said, I've met with him and Gary multiple times, and I appreciate the consideration of this proposal and options we have built for Wise County. I am Matthew McFadden, and I did go to Kelly and Mountain Empire, and Coach Graham was my coach and teacher in school, and looked a lot different back then, but it's all okay. We all change as we get older. But so yeah, I attended J.J. Kelly and MECC. My child actually still attends Wise County schools as well. So I've got a vested interest in all this. So essentially, I lived and worked here my entire life until about 2018. And in 2018, I decided to try an opportunity, as you've heard from a lot of other folks, and move out of the area. So I moved up to Richmond, and I got a very lucrative and beneficial project manager job up there, and was doing great. But like I'd say probably 85% of the people that move out of here, I decided that I needed the mountains, I needed my community, I needed my family, and I wanted to come back. Cool thing about that company is they let me come back and work remotely. But after being back and working remote, kind of wanted to do something different. You know, I saw the opportunity come from Secure Futures, and I was really excited about it, and I'll tell you why. The big deal about Secure Futures partnering with Mountain Empire Community College and the Solar Work Group of Southwest Virginia to build one thing that I know that we need here, and that's jobs. The options to have some economic development opportunities here were massive, and I'll get through all this in just a second, but that's what excited me. I love our home. I want my daughter to be able to have a great time here after I'm gone and have jobs and options, and I want my grandchildren to as well. So, you know, I want Wise County to be a place of future prosperity, and I believe this is a great option for us to consider. So I'm going to kind of run through some of these things. A report released in 2020 from Charlottesville-based clean energy company Generation 180 reports that the number of schools using solar has tripled from 29 to 89 locations since 2017. So that's a big deal, right? We're seeing a lot of adoption in solar over the last 3 to 4 years. The top 3 school districts in that are Richmond Public Schools. It's the biggest solar installation in Virginia right now. We did Richmond Public Schools through a power purchase agreement. That was Secure Futures. The second largest is Hanover County, and the third largest is Powhatan County. Virginia is now up 20th in the nation compared to 8th. Virginia was 20th, now we're 8th in 2020. But how's that affected us? If you take a look at this chart here, you'll see that most of all the solar installed in the state has been basically in central and northern Virginia. The reason for that is that PPAs were not allowed until recently. Now, what is a PPA? Well, that's a power purchase agreement. That's how we get solar on a school without costing you any money, okay? That's the whole goal. Essentially, you take part of the savings, we can recoup the tax credits and things like that, give you additional savings in addition to those things. Now, with the passage of HB 2034 and some other bills that we were involved with, we actually were able to make power purchase agreements legal in APCO, ODP, and Powell Valley Electric Co-op territories. So what wasn't legal before is now. So now Southwest Virginia has a chance to catch up. We've been left behind, but I believe we can get there. Let's see. Now, as we've seen in the past, the utility companies are updating and changing their systems. You guys are aware of the 2019 Clean Economy Act that says they have to have certain percentages from wind and renewables. Who do you guys think is going to pay for that? We will. All the ratepayers are going to pay for it because the coal plants have been paid for 50, 60, 70 years. So we're going to see energy go up over the next little bit. And I think a way that we can get around that here in coal country is solar. Gives us some energy independence and allows us to be a powerhouse of energy again. And this is one way we can do it and create local jobs and give some benefits to local communities. So at this point, you know a little bit about me, you know a little bit about these laws, you know a little bit about why solar is a good option and how solar is going. Let me tell you a little bit about the company I work for. So basically, Secure Futures was founded by Tony Smith in 2004. To date, we've developed over 75 projects in and around Virginia, totaling more than 15 megawatts. However, one of the more exciting things about my company is that we are the first solar developer to become a B Corporation. So what is a B Corporation? That means we meet the highest standards of verified social and environmental performance, public and legal transparency, and all that to balance profit and purpose. Our main goal is to have a positive impact for our employees, the community, and the environment. This makes the company not only a great place to work, but a place that tries to make things better wherever it goes. And basically, in addition to that, we're trying to make, we were the first to make PPAs available and use them to benefit school districts. Now, we use the term partners, and so you can see who we've worked with in the past, to really explain that we are partners together with each customer. Our goal is to give them the most benefit and best experience possible. You may recognize a lot of these names because they're big school districts throughout Virginia. Our biggest compliment from our partners is that they're impressed with our work after the sale and installation. We follow up with annual performance reviews, and this is why so many of our customers are repeat businesses. Around 70% of our customers are in the educational space. And why is that? Well, that's because we mitigate risk. And we do that by the finance, build, own, and operate area. That also includes maintenance. All systems installed with a PPA have this type of structure built into them. That way that you don't have to worry about anything. If it doesn't produce, you don't pay. That's simply the area. If something goes down, you still have power from the power company. And the single largest risk is that the system doesn't work for a short amount of time. And in that case, we come and fix it and credit you the difference. Oh, sorry. Also, at the end of every year, we do a true up. So if the system doesn't produce, you're not going to pay us for the energy that wasn't made. But as a side note, every system that we've installed is overproducing at this point and saving significant money. Okay. This is another one I'm pretty excited about because my kid attends these schools. Okay. This is our NEED program. We work with the National Energy Education Department to create K through 12 solar curriculum. And this is SOL compliant curriculum. Okay. This also includes workshops for teachers. We have our own Throwing Solar Shade program, partnering with the U.S. Department of Energy. But I think I'll let you hear it from them. We've got a great little video here, and hopefully this will play and not go to the next slide.
My name is Caroline Miller. I'm a senior at Fort Defiance High School and Shenandoah Valley Governor School, and I did my project on maximizing thermophotovoltaic cell efficiency.
My name is Cheryl Crookshanks, and I'm a junior at Fort Defiance High School. I looked into various solutions for reducing my high school's impact as a heat island.
I'm Jack Salgado. I'm a student at Open High School, physics of solar panels.
My name is Lauren Rhodes. I'm a senior and active FFA member at Fort Defiance High School in the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia. Can Orchard Hill Farms, an existing poultry farm, be converted to solar energy by putting solar panels on the roofs of the turkey houses?
valuable experience on multiple fronts. I helped review the upcoming TSS program plans as a student who had experienced it firsthand, which allowed me to see both sides of the narrative. I also assisted with the development of a grant application that was aimed at helping students like me access technology that was not available in our rural areas, which will hopefully open the door for students to better participate in TSS as they work virtually.
I'm hoping to go to a college with a good engineering program so I could become a mechanical engineer and continue to work with renewable energy.
Thank you for the opportunity. It's been amazing.
So we've done this with these schools, and we've worked with the Science Museum of Virginia and created all these STEM learning programs. And I think it's a great option to show people that you can get a higher end job here and do better things. And I am the tip of that workforce, and I'm the tip of getting into this. That's one of the things I'm most excited about, is seeing my daughter be able to go through that type of curriculum. But I'll get on to this because I know you guys have been here for a couple hours now, and we'll get through the rest of it. This is the last part of our three-legged stool. So in addition to solar savings and education, we have roofing. Now, we offer a very unique option in the solar industry, and that's called resilient roof restoration. We pair this with solar as a way to extend the life of roofs that may be towards the end of their life. Essentially, we can restore a roof with a 20 to 25-year warranty that matches the length of the power purchase agreement that you choose. And in cases where this is needed, the savings from solar typically pay for the roof restoration. We'll finance that roof restoration over 15 years. That allows you to move the money from the school's capital budget to the operational budget. And at that point, the school can use the system for other needs, repairs to buildings, buses, teachers, what have you. And here's where I talk about the project phases. So you guys all have board briefs that I handed out before this, but this is essentially project phase 1 and project phase 2. Now, this is the meat and potatoes, and we constructed a comprehensive feasibility study free of cost, and Gary and Dr. Mullins helped us get through all these things. And what we've done is look at the best path forward. Phase 1 is basically all the schools that are solar ready in the district. All of these schools have existing roof warranties, which will not be avoided or affected with solar. In this phase, you'll be looking at the following locations: Coburn Primary, Union Middle, St. Paul Elementary, Wise Primary, J.W. Adams, and Wise Votech. The reason we picked these schools is because the warranty lines up with the PPA length, okay? So we're looking at a 20-year PPA as bucket 1, and we can change these things if needed, but based on our experience and speaking with Dr. Mullins and Gary, a 20-year PPA is a great option to fit within the roof warranties. So in year 1, you're looking at $51,286 projected savings. Over 20 years, the length of the PPA, you're looking at $2.1 million in savings. Now, at the end of that 20 years, your power purchase agreement is up. You've not put any money into it. You're getting money out of it. So what do you do with it at that point? Well, you can decide to tell us to take it off the roof, and we'll come take it off the roof and get rid of it. Or if you want it to keep producing for 25 or 35 years, you can buy it for a couple pennies on the dollar. It gets really, really, really inexpensive at that point. And at that point in time, the panels have a 35-year lifespan. You're looking at up to $5 million at 25 years or $12 million at 35 years. Phase 2, well, phase 2 is a little different, okay? Phase 2, many of these schools are going to need a roof restoration to handle solar. And again, you know, projected savings here are almost exactly the same as the phase 1. However, you know, the cost you see here, the projected year 1 savings, $58,000, and the 20-year savings of $2.5 million do not factor into the financial impact of roof restoration. We'll have those estimates soon. I walked all of the schools in phase 2 in the past couple weeks. So, any questions so far? Thoughts? Cool? Great. So, summary. At the end of this day here, the project is going to start a significant savings for Wise County schools and the taxpayers, give us education options for our children that we didn't have before, and possible cost offsets on roofing that may be needed in the future. In addition to this, we're going to be able to bring jobs to Wise County at a time when they're desperately needed. Okay? On this slide, you're going to see my proposed project timeline for phase 1. Approval for the project in August, including preliminary engineering and interconnection applications. execution of the PPA agreement in August, September, with procurement of materials and labor on our side to avoid the increasing inflation costs that we're seeing happening across the country. I believe I saw an article suggesting 5% recently. We'd be looking at final engineering in Q4, and we could begin construction with this timeline at the end of Q1, start of Q2, and start saving money at that point. We're hoping to employ folks from Mountain Empire Community College. We're hoping to employ folks here, electricians and laborers here. Secure Futures hopes to have 30 or more jobs in the next 2 years here. I think it's a great option for us, and I believed in it enough to get on board. So I want to thank you all for your time. I know this is a lot to go over. You've been here for two hours and 40 minutes already. If you have any questions, my card is in every folder that I handed out. My cell phone number is there as well. Feel free to text me, call me, email me, whatever you need. Any questions at all? Nope. Great. Well, if you have any, let me know, and I appreciate your time. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you, sir.
Have a great day.
Let's see. 10.5, Dr. Mullins, the old J.J. Kelly Football Stadium.
Mr. Chair and members of the board, I just wanted to share an update with you on the old stadium bleachers and press box there at J.J. Kelly High. As all of you are aware, we have looked for ways to demolish these structures for some time. They're no longer usable and they're not safe, and so therefore we haven't used them in a number of years. We've had a couple of plans that we've worked on that just didn't come to fruition, that we hope to get this project taken care of by maybe coupling it with something else, but it didn't come together. And so the county, as all of you are aware, have entered into a contract with, I believe, a firm in Pennsylvania to, I think, demolish the old social services building, maybe the old jail, J.J. Kelly High and Pound High. And I've spoken with Mr. Hatfield and asked him in his interactions with that firm if while they're here demoing the old Kelly High, if they would be willing to quote our stadium and press box project in the same job. And so he's going to do that. He's going to reach out to them, and we're hopeful, since they already would have the equipment here and have the manpower here, that we would receive a quote that is perhaps more favorable than any we've had up to this point. I just wanted to mention that and let you know that we were having those discussions, and certainly once I receive any news, I'll share that with you all. But that would be for the demolition and filling in that area. Of course, they would not be on the football field, they would not be on the track, and they wouldn't compromise our softball field. And so I will let you know as we continue to look into that, but we're hopeful it'll be part of the same project.
Any questions? Thank you, Dr. Mullins. Sound like it's worth looking into, for sure. 10.6, the ESSER free plan.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, you have a copy of our ARP ESSER 3 plan in your packets, and of course, we gave you a draft of that packet, I think at our June meeting as well. And this plan was developed with your help, with the assistance of a committee made up of individual teachers, administrators, central office staff, parents. And we have had this plan on our website. We've asked for public input, feedback, and the document you have in your packet tonight is the finished product. We have submitted this plan and are awaiting feedback, and as we make our way through that process, we'll keep you informed to any feedback we get regarding that plan. But I did want you to know it's complete, and we're just waiting on approval.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay, let's go down to action. Of course, we'll do employment after we come out of closed session. Let's go down to 11.2, VSBA policy updates, which we discussed at the last meeting and have information on.
And of course, Mr. Chair, members of the board, I think it's certainly not surprising to anyone in our room or that's been here tonight. It's always been our goal to provide a safe, secure learning environment for all students, regardless of their differences. And to treat them all with respect and dignity, that's something we've tried to do forever. And you know, as a board, you've always adopted policies that support Virginia law. I mean, that's what you do. And the policies that we provided you with in June and are asking for your approval of tonight do not contain the model transgender policy that was developed by the VDOE. They do, however, contain the Virginia School Board Association recommended policies that will allow us to comply with the law. And these are policies we've had for a number of years that protect all children from bullying, harassment, discrimination. And the VSBA has tweaked these policies in order to comply with current law. And so we've worked with our school administrators to develop single-user restrooms and single-use changing areas in our buildings, and these are facilities for all children to use, not any one particular group or any individual. It's for all children, and we will continue to search for opportunities to meet the needs of every child while loving and supporting each one, and that has always been our approach, and that will continue to be our approach. So you know, and as we were talking at the break, you know, it's always, it's part of our process as a democracy to have individuals come and make impassioned pleas for, you know, for one something or the other, but we feel like that what we've provided you with allows us again to take care of all of our children, and I think what we will have in place will meet the needs of everyone. And so I just wanted to share that with you after tonight's, and we are very appreciative of feedback. We always love the public involvement, and they should be involved. Education of children is a very serious issue and a very important one in every community, and so we are thankful that we have those that care deeply about our education system, and it's always good to hear from them. So wanted to share that with you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Is there a motion to approve the VSBA policy updates as presented?
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the VSBA policy updates as presented to us. Those in favor of approving the VSBA policy updates, let it be known by aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Motion carries. Let's go to 11.3, the technology grant resolution. Is there a motion to approve the technology grant resolution?
So moved.
Who got that one?
Johnny. Or Mark, who was it?
I'll second it.
Okay, so Martha got it. Okay.
Who you giving it to?
Martha gets it. And John gets the second. Is that correct, John? You're second on the motion. Okay. So those in favor of approving the technology grant resolution, let it be known by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. Motion carries. Is there any general information for us, Miss Judy? Okay. Then, Mr. Bates, do you have a motion to go into closed session?
I do. Pursuant to 2.2-3711 of the Code of Virginia, I move that the board convene a closed meeting for the purpose of discussing the following specific matters: discussion, consideration, or interviews with prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of a school board, as authorized by 2.2-3711 of the Code of Virginia. consultation with legal counsel, briefings by staff members or consultants pertaining to actual or probable litigation where such consultation or briefing in open meeting would adversely affect the negotiating or litigating posture of a school board, in consultation with legal counsel employed or retained by the school board regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel as authorized by 2.2-3711 of the Code of Virginia.
You said that very well, sir. Thank you. Is there a second to go into closed session?
Second.
Okay, John. Got you on that one. All those in favor of going into closed session, let it be known by aye. Aye. Those opposed? And we're going to closed session for a while.
Can we get a cup? Go in there and get Larry's coffee.
I am not responsible for the coffee, but you have coffee. Who makes it? Carrie.
A Carrie maker.
Yeah, the cake does.
Oh.
But the cake does.
I didn't think it was all that bad. Of course I
seeing Donaldson Baker.
You're live.
Great.
Is there a motion to re-enter open session?
So moved.
That was Mark. I started putting Beth down on my book. Is there a second?
Second.
Martha, okay. Then Mrs. Durham, would you please read us in?
Whereas the Wise County School Board has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas the Code of Virginia requires the certification of this school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law, now therefore be it resolved that the Wise County School Board hereby certifies that, to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempt from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered. Please vote. Ms. Jepp?
Yes.
Mr. Short?
Yes.
Mr. Graham?
Yes.
Dr. Raymond?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Bates?
Yes.
Mr. Greer?
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. So now we're back into open session. Is there a motion to approve the superintendent's list of for employment?
So moved.
That's Philip. And we have a second.
I second.
Vicki. Those in favor of approving the employment list, please let me know. Please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? No. Okay. The ayes have it, motion carries. I'm talking to myself here, I think, evidently. Let's go down to information, closed session. Any new items? Let's continue to board comments. Let's see. Does anybody recall where I started last time? There's one of these sides here. Let's just start with you.
No comments tonight.
Okay.
No comments.
And
No comment.
Herb?
No comment.
No comment. Philip?
I've got a list here. I need to. No comment.
The only comment I have is, having completed our agenda, we're adjourned, and our next meeting will be in August sometime. August the 10th. August the 10th. We are adjourned. Thank you very much, Board. I appreciate you. You too, John. We'll see you, bud. I thought you dropped my potato chips in that old folder.